paragraph is Bentham. Let's understand what is the context of this paragraph. So I'll quickly read through this paragraph, couple of lines with you guys. By the 1820s, Bentham has become a well-known figure, both in Britain and in other parts of the world. His ideas were to influence the reforms of public administration during the 19th century, and his writings are still at the center of academic debate, especially social policy, legal positivism, and welfare economics. Bentham died on 6 June 1832, a day before the first Reform Act was given royal assent. As per the in his will, Bentham's body was dissected by his friend, the surgeon Thomas Southwood Smith, and his skeleton preserved as the auto icon. Let's understand what does this paragraph meaning. The paragraph centers on the contributions of Bentham and their legacy, right? Now it highlights how his ideas influenced public administration reforms in the 19th century. The preservation of his body following his will and the ongoing research and transcription efforts dedicated to his works, right? Okay, now let's start with first blank. We are having 4 options: made, caused, happened, taken. Let's understand the meaning of made. Made indicates reforms that were intentionally brought into effect, which aligns with the deliberate changes discussed in the paragraph. So it is a right option. Let's understand with an example. The policy changes made by the government had a lasting impact, right? So this is the right option here, but let's understand why we're not choosing caused, happened, and taken. So what does caused mean? Caused implies direct action leading to an effect, right? However, in this paragraph, Bentham's ideas influenced reforms rather than directly causing them. For example, if we want to understand caused with the help of examples, let's understand. The storm caused a power outage in the entire area. Another example, her actions caused a positive change in the community. Okay. The next one is happened. Happened refers to events occurring by chance or naturally, which doesn't align with the deliberate implementation of reforms. For example, an unexpected incident happened during the experiment, or the meeting happened without prior notice. Let's see the next one, which is taken. Taken refers to actions undertaken but doesn't fit the context of reforms being carried out or implemented. Make sense? Taken use it for actions or decisions. For example, measures were taken to address the issue. Makes sense. So the right fit is made. Let's see the other one, especially social policy. Let's have a look these 4 options. As regards, compared to, as long as, in case of. So let's understand as regards. As regards is a phrase used to introduce a topic, right? Such as social policy. Here we are having social policy and welfare economics. It suits the academic tone of the paragraph and it suits here. So this is a right option for our second blank. If we understand with an example, as regards the company's growth, further investments are required, right? So it is a phrase used to introduce a topic. Make sense? Next one is compared to. So what does compared to mean? Compared to refers to comparisons between 2 entities, but the paragraph requires a phrase introducing topics rather than comparing them, right? For example, compared to last year, sales have doubled. The next one is, this novel is quite different compared to his earlier works. So it is not a right option. The next one is as long as. As long as implies a condition which doesn't fit the context of introducing topics. Because as long as used for conditional sentences. For example, you can borrow the book as long as you return it on time. Next one is in case of. In case of refers to a specific situation, irrelevant to introducing topics. and best use of in case of an emergency, evacuate the building immediately. So the right option is as regards. The next one is as per the dash in his will. What options do we have here? Directions, parts, categories, and levels. So let's understand. First of all, we have directions. So directions refers to instructions or guidelines provided in someone's will, right? Making it the most suitable choice for this sentence. For example, the directions on the map were hard to follow. Make sense? Parts. Parts refers to components, not instructions. So not a correct option. And we normally use parts when we describe portions of a whole. For example, the engine's parts were scattered across the workshop. Next one is categories. Categories refers to classifications, not instructions or guidelines. And we normally use categories for organizing items or concepts into groups. For example, the books were divided into categories based on genre. Next one is levels. Levels refers to stages or degrees, irrelevant to the instructions in Bentham's will, right? Normally we use levels in contexts involving rankings or gradations. For example, the difficulty levels increased as the game progressed. Makes sense. So the right option is directions. In our next blank, we're having this. Research into Bentham's thought and life continues today at UCL's Bentham Project, set up in the early 1960s with the aim dash for, about, as, of. Let's understand for. For is used to indicate purpose or benefit, but it doesn't grammatically connect the aim. Make sense? So, producing. It would imply a broader intention rather than the specific action of producing addition. For example, this conference is for professionals in the legal field, indicating purpose. Second one is she baked a cake for her friend's birthday, indicating benefit. Make sense? The next one is about. About refers to the subject or topic of something, which doesn't suit the sentence's purpose of connecting the aim to the action of producing the addition. For example, the lecture is about the history of architecture, indicating topic. She asked about the new guidelines for the project, indicating inquiry. Makes sense? Next one is as. So as indicates a role, condition, or comparison which doesn't fit the intended meaning of associating the aim with the action of producing the addition, right? For example, he works as a teacher at the university, indicating role. She spoke as if she were an expert on the subject, indicating comparison. Makes sense. The last one is of. Of establishes the relationship between the aim and producing, where the aim belongs or pertains to the activity of producing the scholarly addition of Bentham's works. This proposition accurately connects the goal to the action. So this is a right fit here. If we try to understand with an example, so we'll say the purpose of organizing this event is to raise awareness about climate change. Makes sense. So the right option is of. Let's move to the next one, which is the last blank of this paragraph. This edition is projected to run to dash. Options are mostly, just, almost, some. So let's understand the meaning of mostly. Mostly suggests the majority or predominant part of something. Unsuitable when discussing an approximate total, right? This edition is projected to run to dash 80 volumes, right? For example, the room was mostly filled with participants. She mostly relied on her instincts during the competition. Makes sense. Next one is just. Just indicates exactness or minimalism, which doesn't match the approximation. For example, the project was completed in just 2 days. He had just enough time to catch the train. So it's not a correct option. Next one is almost. Almost suggests being close to a number but not exact, which doesn't fit the intended meaning of an approximate total. For example, she had almost finished her homework before dinner. The construction is almost complete. Not a right option here. Let's move to the next one. Sum. Let's understand what sum means. Sum reflects an approximate number which suits the projected total of 80 volumes. For example, he donated some of his books to the library. Make sense? So the right option is sum. So we have ended up with these correct options. First is made. The second one is as regards. The third one is directions. Fourth one is of. And the last one is sum.